What's up, everyone? Eddie Mercado here, and I'm about to interview UFC heavyweight prospect Adam Milstead. He is coming off a very impressive showing at UFC Fight Night 88, where he scored a second-round TKO victory over Chris De La Rocha. So recently, he dropped a YouTube video of himself recording a country music song. And it got a lot of positive feedback on Facebook and social media. So we're going to give him a call and talk to him about it and, kind of find out, exactly what he's doing with that area of his life and his thoughts on his UFC debut and maybe a little insight onto his next upcoming fight. So, yeah, let's go ahead and give him a call and see what he has to say.
Hello?
The prototype.
Hey, what's up?
Mr. Millstead, how you doing? Eddie Mercado here.
Hey, good to hear from you, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see you've been doing big things. You're coming off your UFC debut, an impressive second round finish. You're on fire. You're dropping this new all original material, right? This new song you just put out, "Like I Love You." That's
yeah, it was one of those moments that just kind of like hit me, and I ran with it. So
awesome. So you're 8-1. Just had your first UFC fight. Of those 8 fights, 6 have been by knockout, 2 have been by submission. You're a finisher. You stumbled in your first fight, but have been flawless since then. Never seen a third round. Can you give us a little insight onto your training, like who you've been training with and where you're training at?
Yeah, well, I train out of Mark Cheka's martial arts. It's right here in the heart of Pittsburgh, basically Robinson Township. But he coaches me as well as a couple other guys out of that gym. I work with Dan Kakuda. He's a great Muay Thai fighter. Jason Cardillo, who's a great wrestling coach. And then once a week, I hit up the Strong Style in Cleveland, and I usually give Stipe Miocic some work, who's now the current UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world. I go up and give him some rounds, and at the same time get a little bit of coaching from him. He's a great guy. He always helps me out. That's pretty much what it is.
Awesome. What's it like sparring with Stipe? I mean, how are those sessions? Are they pretty intense? Are they kind of lighthearted? Or what is it like sparring with the UFC Heavyweight Champion?
We always tell each other that we're going to start out nice and easy, but usually ends into like a crazy intense brawl. We're still safe about it, but at the same time, I mean, we're both in there to get work and help one another, and so going easy just doesn't feel like that. We are helping each other, so we go pretty hard.
I dig it, man. That's what's up. So you're not exactly the heaviest heavyweight out there. You know what I mean? You don't cut weight to make the weight class. Do you think you can make 205, or is heavyweight where you feel like you belong and want to be?
Well, I can make 205 if I absolutely needed to, but that's me personally, what I would say, pridefully saying. But if they came to me and asked me, hey, would you mind dropping light heavyweight? Like, no, the heavyweight's my home. That's where I'm staying at. It's fun being a heavyweight. You get to step on a scale. You just had a double bacon cheeseburger and a large Coke or something like that, and you got no problem making weight. At the same time, just being at a lower weight in the actual weight class, I feel that I'm faster and I have a little bit more cardio than most.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So what's your diet like then? Since you don't have to worry about cutting weight or being at a specific weight, do you pretty much just eat whatever you feel like it, or do you kind of try to keep it clean in some areas? Or what is your diet like exactly?
My diet could be better than what it is, but normally I start eating clean, about halfway through my camp. it just revolves around, eggs, chicken, grilled chicken, broccoli, just a wholesome, high-calorie food that's still good for you that, your body's going to be able to absorb and put muscle on. So I'm in a position where when I eat, it's all about trying to gain weight. Because, unfortunately for me, being in the heavyweight division is great, but in order to stay at that particular weight, I actually have to eat a lot more. So my calorie intake's up close to 5,000 a day.
Oh, wow.
Which is only maintaining, and it's really difficult to do that. If I don't do that, then I automatically start losing weight. I have unusually fast metabolism. So it works if I was losing weight, and it works against me since I'm trying to gain weight. But in all, it's my dieting is mainly just putting calories into my body.
Okay. So you're one of those guys that everyone hates because they have the high metabolism and the weight just doesn't stay on them. Awesome.
Yeah,
man.
pretty much. Especially all the lightweights, especially if I order like a large pepperoni pizza and go in the gym with it, and while all the other guys are cutting weight. I don't mean to be that much of a butthead, but I don't know. It's one of those things. Like if I have to deal with 265-pound men punching me in the face, I mean, at least I should have some sort of advantage, which is basically I can eat whatever I want. So I'm going to use that, and they can go ahead and worry about losing weight.
Fair enough. So how did you get into MMA to begin with? Like, how did you even start training, or even recognize that, hey, this is something I can do professionally?
Well, it was coming off of my college football career, which was short-lived. It lasted about a half a semester. Tore my ACL on the football field. Coach just kind of kicked me to the wind, and I didn't really hear much back from him, so I was kind of screwed in that point. So at that particular moment in my life, I had nothing going on. I went from doing football, baseball, and wrestling throughout the whole year to doing absolutely nothing and, working a dead-end job. So I needed something to kind of keep me motivated. And one day I looked on the back of a penny saver, it said, try mixed martial arts, 30-day free trial. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give this guy a call. So I gave him a call and said, hey, I'd like to try it out and see where I'm at. And he said, okay, do you got any experience? I said, well, I wrestled since I was in second grade. And he's like, really? He's like, I want you in here tomorrow. I'm like, all right. So I came down and started training. Apparently I picked it up pretty quick. 2 months later, I was fighting my very first fight. And I can remember back to that fight. It was one of the most nerve-wracking things in my entire life because I'd never been in a fight in my entire life. Growing up, I was always a big guy. No one ever picked on me. But I ended up going in the fight, winning it, and fell in love with the fact that, I worked my butt off to get my hand raised at the end. And my coach came up to me afterwards. He said, hey, buddy, he said, I want to let you know it was an awesome fight, and you got a bright future in this sport. So ever since then, I stuck with it.
Okay, awesome. So how did it come to be that you got into the UFC?
Well, it was a lot of series of events all compiled together, a bunch of, I don't know what you want to call it, but basically, fighting is, of course, the number one way you get in, you win, you put on a show, you get a lot of people to support you. Pittsburgh, being a part of Pittsburgh has they have a roar around all their sports teams. These people really back each other up and push their teams in the right direction. They're always about, doesn't matter if they're losing, they're still diehard fans, and that goes the same with mixed martial artists. People who come out of this area, they really support them and give them. They basically push their name out for everybody to hear about, and that's pretty much what happened. I went on Twitter a couple times, and I was just like blasting Sean Shelby and everybody from the UFC and said, I want in, I want my shot. I had an article written about me, made a post one day, told them I was like, I'm willing to fight in the UFC for free. Thank God I didn't fight for free. Eventually the word got out, and, next thing I know, I'm talking to Joe Silva himself, and eventually he said, I want to sign you. And ever since then, I mean, I've been a part of the UFC, and, I gotta thank Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for doing that. I mean, this whole city here really pushed my name out there and eventually got noticed.
Okay. Does that mean you're a Steelers fan?
I want to keep these guys my fans, but unfortunately I came from Maryland, so my team is the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so it's interesting living up here. It's fun, game time. I'll wear my Ravens jersey, and everybody makes fun of me, but it's still fun in the essence. But Steelers is a good. I'm not taking anything away from them. Just born and raised in Maryland, so Ravens fan.
All right, so but you're giving credit to the city for putting you on the map, getting Joe Silva to recognize you. Now, when he finally did reach out, did he approach you with like a multi-fight deal? Or was it just a one fight by fight basis kind of thing? Or
at first it was more or less he's just looking for an opening. I mean, we've been talking, and he said, I'm looking for an opening for you. He said, I really want you to fight and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, cool. My manager started talking to him. My manager at the time was talking to him, and eventually they kind of hashed out a deal, and so no word yet on if I was actually going to get in or if maybe he was spinning my tires. My manager gave me a call and said, hey, bud, you're in the UFC. I said, oh, that's awesome. That's great. When's the fight? He said, well, no fight scheduled yet, but he's signing you to a 4-fight deal. I was like, whoa, okay. That's pretty awesome because, most guys get in there, you should just get like a short notice fight, to just fill a spot, and eventually, maybe they'll get noticed or the UFC doesn't like them, whatever. But I got a 4-fight deal right off of the bat, and I was like, all right. So, I must be doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look fantastic in your last performance. A tough outing for you, and it was a very exciting fight. You want to touch on your debut a little bit and what you thought of your performance?
Yeah, my performance could have been a hell of a lot better. I'll say that right now. I watched it about 100 different times, and I picked out a lot of different things in it that I need to work on. But mainly, the hardest part about dealing with that was the fact that all your dreams and goals came down to that one moment and that one opportunity, and it was like you had to do everything you could to do things right to make sure that you captured that dream and that goal to win in the UFC. So. When it came time to to jump in the cage, I definitely had the UFC jitters. It wasn't in a sense that I was nervous. I was just excited, and I was just ecstatic. You look around, everybody's watching. You got cameras in your face. You have Big John McCarthy just put blasphemy and send you in the cage. I mean, it's one of those things that. You see on TV and you dream about, and then all of a sudden you're actually living the dream. It was a dream come true, in short, and it was a learning experience as well. My debut could have been better as far as performance-wise. I mean, I gassed out pretty quick, and that was just because I was just in the moment, man, just realizing that I was there, and so I was just didn't know how to react to a lot of situations, but all in all, it was fun. It was exciting. I lived like a rock star.
Yeah, it was definitely a very high-paced affair for heavyweights. I'll say that. Yeah. And I feel like you really went for it there at the end. It's like you saw you had him on the ropes and you kind of turned it up and just let your hands go and put him away. I thought that was very impressive. Now, what can we expect from you next time out? You think we'll ever see a third round from you, maybe?
I don't want to. I don't even want to go to the second round. I'll tell people I'm in there to put on a show. That's for sure. I mean, that's first things first. I enter that cage. My job is to entertain, to put on a show for the people who paid their hard-earned money to watch a good fight, and of course to represent the UFC the best that I can. But I definitely do. I'm a heavyweight still. I mean, even though I may not look like one, I'm just I still have that mentality. I want to get in, get out, and go grab a beer. So I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. Well, what are your goals for this MMA thing? Are you you want to be the champion, the main guy, or you just want big fights that bring in big purses? Or, I mean, what exactly is Adam Milstead's goals for MMA?
Well, I want to create an image. I want to create an image that basically, number one, that you can accomplish your dreams if you put your mind to it. I was a nobody. I worked my butt off, for 10 years straight, man. I had a tunnel vision of what I wanted, and I went out and I grabbed it. And I want people to realize that it's possible for anybody to do that as long as you put your mind to it. At the same time, I want people to recognize me for a guy who's like one of the nicest people you ever meet on the outside. I mean, I'll do anything I can for anybody. But inside that cage, man, I want to be recognized as a brutal fighter, somebody who comes in there and is ready to do business.
Okay.
Most importantly, man, just to stay strong in my faith, just be that guy that everybody wants to watch. So.
I dig it, man. I dig it. So let's shift gears and let's talk about this musical talent that you have. When did you get into music? When was this like a thing?
Well, it was I picked up the guitar in 9th grade because I needed like an arts credit, but at the same time I picked it up so I could pick up chicks. But I started playing. I was all right at it. And eventually, I just stuck with it. I kept working on it, and I got pretty decent at it. But I'm sure everybody goes through this. You're driving your car, and you're listening to music, and you're by yourself, so you're singing all the time. And so I was doing that for a really long time, and then finally, I was like, I'm gonna try singing with some of my music, and it started out just recording my phone, and then it sounded really good. Then next thing I know, I go out and I buy a MIDI interface, and I hooked that up, and I played through, and I was just like kind of blown away by the quality it was, and it was more or less one of those things that I just wanted to see what else I could do, how further I could go in it, just like kind of like mixed martial arts. But in essence, I do make music, but only in the sense that it helps balance out the violence in my life. Like, it's one of those things that is probably the most opposite from mixed martial arts that I can think of, because it's something that doesn't require a lot of physical activity, a lot of mental fortitude. Like, it's more or less just something that is, it's emotional almost. And, and it actually helps a lot too with a lot of things I feel. I remember when I first decided to put out something, online, and it got a lot of reviews. People were telling me that it was great, and they loved the way I sung. I did that because prior to one of my fights, I could not stop thinking about the fight. I had a long layoff, and I was like, I got to get in there. I got to fight again, but I'm nervous. I haven't been in there a while. I'm going to have cage rust. I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to sit down and relax. I started playing guitar, and I started recording, and I put out this song, and people liked it. And the next thing I know, I wasn't thinking about the fight. And so ever since then, it's just been one of those things. It's like a fight ritual slash, a way to maybe get seen somehow. I'm all about, not living with any regrets. Maybe there's some, big music producer out there says, hey, I like you, I want you in my studio or something like that. You never know, but.
Okay. Well, yeah, you just dropped this new song. It's called Like I Love You, and you can find it on the YouTube channel Adam Milstead. And this is all original material, correct? I mean, you wrote the music for it, you wrote the lyrics for it, you produced it, it's all 100% you, right?
All me, yep.
Okay, and in the music video, I mean, it looks pretty legit. Like, you got a fancy microphone, and I mean, it looks like you got some actual legit recording equipment in there. Is that at a studio, or is that like your own personal little setup, or what's going on there?
That's my own at-home recording studio, I guess you can call it. It's probably one of the reasons why I have no money. It's just, I live like 2 minutes from a guitar center, so that was bad on my part to pick where I live. But at the same time, man, I get to one point of that whole music thing I'm doing. It's like, man, all right. So I got this great MIDI interface. Now I want to see what I can do with like a drum machine. So I'll buy a drum machine. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to get a better microphone, get a condenser microphone. And, one thing led to another. And the next thing I know, I got a credit card and didn't mean to, but, at the same time, it's just it's all just for fun, man. I just love doing it.
Awesome. You ever thought about appearing on American Idol or America's Got Talent or any of these shows?
No, man. I'll tell you what. I've seen a lot of guys get on there that were really good, and they still turn them down. It's singing in front of people is probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I can do right now. That was actually something I want to eventually do in my time, to get up on the stage and maybe sing in front of people. But I'd rather get in a cage and fight. I could do that all day, but singing in front of people is one of those things that I don't know if I'd be able to handle it or perform like I do by myself singing in a microphone. It's one thing to have a camera. Yeah, it's one thing to have a camera facing you. It's another thing to have people judging you and actual good singers who've made millions of dollars in singing. So I don't know. It's a confidence thing. Maybe one day. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, so you would rather fight in front of people than sing in front of people.
Yeah, I'd rather fight, in front of thousands, millions of people, watching. That's not an issue. So, I mean, I guess it would be singing would be kind of like the same thing. I guess I could look at it as like fighting. When you're in the cage, that's all you see is one other person. So, I guess I could do that, but it'll take a little bit to get used to.
Yeah, for sure. So have you ever thought about maybe after you get a victory inside the octagon, you take the microphone from Joe Rogan and you just start singing and you just get yourself out there that way, maybe on like a Fox show, you're on national TV?
I don't know about that. I mean, you got to think about what you're going to sing and stuff like that. And, whenever I'm fighting, I'm pretty loud and vocal when I fight. A lot of my punches, require a lot of pumps, I guess you could say. Near the end, I could barely speak in the microphone and do an interview, let alone sing. So maybe post-fight interview. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. What about walking out to your own entrance music? Is that something that could be a reality for you?
In fact, I was actually just working on it this morning. I like to try to put something together. I mean, it's got to definitely be something well written, maybe instrumental. But I was putting together a lot of good riffs today, and I don't know, maybe it's a possibility. A lot more possibility than it is to take the mic away from Joe Rogan and sing.
Absolutely. Well, I recall they did that one show where they actually had a couple people performing at the UFC event. So perhaps you could perform a song at the event before or maybe even after one of your fights.
I wouldn't mind doing that. Get a few beers in me and I'll be all right.
Well, then it should probably be post-fight. I don't know if 3 beers pre-fight is a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, post-fight, definitely.
Awesome, man. So do you know about your next fight yet? Or what's up next for the prototype?
Nothing yet. I'm still, kind of waiting. I mean, basically, you're at the mercy of the UFC. So I'm waiting to see if they got something set up. But I would like to get on that Cleveland card, and the fact that I'm only 2 hours away, so technically they wouldn't have to pay for travel expenses. Hint, hint. The Cleveland card would be awesome. My boy Stipe Miocic is, defending his title against Overeem, so it'd be a fun card to be on, that's for sure. Is it silly for me to ask who you got in that fight? Yeah, kind of. If you want my technical decision on that, or the way that I see the fight handling out, it's basically Overeem's not going to be able to handle the punching. And he's not going to be able to take him down because I know Stipe is one hell of a wrestler. A lot of people don't realize about him. I mean, he's a great boxer to begin with, but I think he's a better wrestler at the same time. So, Stipe is definitely winning that one. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for it. It's going to be fireworks no matter what. All right, so you got any sponsors or any shout-outs you want to give
anyone in particular you want to thank or anything like that?
Yeah, I got my sponsor, Organifi, I like to thank. Got to thank all my training partners and coaching down at Mark Jericho's Martial Arts, as well as all the guys up at Strong Style in Cleveland. You know, thank my friends and family for supporting me and pushing me in the right direction. And thank you to the big guy upstairs. And that's pretty much it.
All right, Adam, the prototype Millstead, I definitely appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time out to talk to us. I know you're a very busy man. You're fighting, you're training, you're writing music, you're putting it out there. True gentleman. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you, man.
All right, you have a good one.
You too. Bye.
Bye. So there it is, folks. UFC heavyweight prospect, Adam the prototype Milstead. No fight scheduled, but he's in the gym. He's training. He's writing music. Go check him out. His song, Like I Love You, is on his YouTube channel, which is Adam Milstead. Go check it out. And yeah, I'm Eddie Mercado. Till then, find me on Twitter at the Eddie Mercado. Have a good one.